Greetings and welcome to PacificSource Kitchen. I'm Lewis Martin, wellness consultant, registered dietitian, and your culinary guide to fun and nutritious recipes. One of the easiest ways to tell if you're making healthy food choices is by reading nutrition labels. Unfortunately, nutrition labels can be somewhat confusing, so today we're going to walk through one step by step to clear any confusion you might have. We'll start by checking out this jar of peanut butter, which we'll then use in a tasty recipe. The first thing you see when you'll look at a nutrition label is the serving size. This is arguably the most important part of the label, as everything else that's listed, calories, carbs, fat, they're all directly related to the serving size. Take for example, this 2 tablespoon serving size of peanut butter. If I consume this, I know that I'm getting exactly the same nutrition as what's listed on the label. If I were to modify that at all, let's say doubled it to 4 tablespoons, then I know that I would also double all the calories and everything else on the label as well. A pro tip for those who are not familiar with measuring serving sizes is to take a couple of days and pick 1 or 2 of your most commonly consumed foods. For those couple of days, take the time to measure out that food every time you eat it. After a couple of days, you'll be pretty familiar with what a serving size looks like, even without precise measurement. If you want pinpoint precise measurement, you could lean on something like a culinary kitchen scale. The next thing on the nutrition label is calories. Calories tell us how much energy we're consuming from the fat, carbohydrate, and protein in the food item. Everything else on the nutrition label refers to fat, carbohydrate, and protein. We refer to these 3 as the macronutrients, and they're easy to find because they're in bold. The USDA provides recommendations for macronutrients, which we'll see as a percentage next to each macronutrient. With any diet-related recommendation, there's no one-size-fits-all, so we recommend consulting with your doctor or with a registered dietitian for diet-related recommendations that are specific to you. Everything indented underneath the bold macronutrients are a part of that total nutrient. For example, the 3 grams of saturated fat you see are a part of the total 16 grams of fat listed. Fat is an essential nutrient in our diet. It helps give us essential energy, absorb nutrients in our body, and protect our cells. You'll typically see 3 types of fat listed on a nutrition label: unsaturated fats, saturated fats, and trans fats. Unsaturated fats come from plant-based foods and are generally considered heart healthy. Saturated fats should be consumed in moderation, with general recommendations being less than 20 grams per day. Trans fats are usually found in highly processed foods and should be avoided altogether. Next on the nutrition label, you'll see cholesterol. Cholesterol comes from animal-based foods and can affect the health of our heart. In general, you should aim to consume less than 300 milligrams of cholesterol per day. Our peanut butter is plant-based, so no cholesterol here. Next on the nutrition label is sodium, which refers to the total amount of salt in the product you're going to consume. Sodium directly affects our blood pressure. For healthy individuals, it's recommended that you consume less than 2,300 milligrams per day. Next up is carbohydrate, which is our body's go-to source of energy. A nutrition label breaks down carbohydrates into dietary fiber, added sugar, and sugar alcohols. We'll start with dietary fiber. Dietary fiber is a unique substance found in plants and comes with a plethora of benefits. First and foremost, fiber helps us to digest our food and eliminate waste from our body. It also helps us feel full and satisfied when we eat, and can even help reduce our cholesterol level. In general, you should try to consume more fiber, with at least 25 grams being the goal for a day. Next is added sugar. Added sugar is usually found in more processed foods and should be consumed in moderation. I usually stick with general recommendations and try to aim for less than 50 grams of added sugar per day. Be wary of certain food products that appear to be healthy, like certain protein bars, as they sometimes can be loaded with tons of extra sugar. The last thing you might see under carbohydrates are sugar alcohols. Sugar alcohols don't affect your blood sugar the same as actual sugar does. For those who are trying to limit their sugar intake but still want a sweet treat, foods sweetened with sugar alcohols are a good alternative. Next up is protein. Protein forms the building blocks for your muscles and your tissue, and very similar to fiber, helps you feel full and satisfied when you eat. An individual's protein recommendations can vary drastically depending on their health condition and their level of physical activity. In general, you can find protein in abundance in meat, poultry, seafood, eggs, dairy products, and certain plant-based foods like beans and legumes, nuts and seeds, and even meat alternatives like tofu. Nutrition facts labels are required to show you how much calcium and vitamin D they contain. They're also required to show you how much iron and potassium they contain as well. Lastly, you'll see the ingredients list, which lists all the ingredients in the product by weight. A nutrition pro tip is to look for the first 3 ingredients. If any of them are sugar or some sort of syrup, I recommend looking for a product that is slightly less processed. Now let's practice with one of my favorite recipes, peanut butter energy bites. I love this recipe because it's sensible in nutrition, less than $1 per serving, and perfectly portable for those who like to get outdoors like me. I've measured out exactly 1 serving of each of the only 3 ingredients in this recipe. That's a tablespoon of sugar-free chocolate chips, a half of a cup of quick cook oats, and 2 tablespoons of peanut butter. So let's whip it up. The first step with any recipe is to wash and dry your hands. And that's especially important for this one because we're going to be using our hands to mix this in a second. Next step is to drop all of your ingredients in the bowl and stir. After a while, you'll begin to notice the peanut butter clumping to the oats. You want to see that. If your mixture is just a little bit dry, you can keep a 1/4 cup of water handy just to add a little bit of extra moisture. But I don't think we're going to need this for this bowl. Now for the fun part. We're going to knead the mixture with our hands until we form a solid mass. Kneading the mixture with our hands allows for all of the fat and the oil to incorporate into the oats. This process can take several minutes and is a great workout. Once you've kneaded with your hands for a while, you should be able to form a solid mass with the mixture. All that's left to do now is to pinch off 5 individual pieces. Now, after you're done rolling out and forming your peanut butter energy bites, I absolutely recommend washing and drying your hands again, or else you will leave a trail of peanut butter in your wake. Now, based on the fact that we used 1 serving of each of these, we know that there is about 400 calories total in our peanut butter energy bites. Because we use the sugar-free chocolate chips, there's 0 grams of added sugar in this recipe. And we also can count on there being about 12 grams of fiber, which is a huge win, and about 15 grams of protein. So 1 or 2 of these is a really sensible snack or dessert, or a delicious treat on the trail. We hope that this episode and this recipe helped you to become more adventurous in the kitchen. On behalf of PacificSource, be well and take care.